So what's going on, guys? It is JM, it is speakboxing. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel before you guys click onto any of these videos. Also comment below in the comment section if you guys have any opinions on what I'm saying in any of these videos. Like always, it is appreciated if you guys could drop me a quick sub or two on my channel. So Eddie Hearn has came out in the past few days and says that his fighter Joshua Buatsi is very interested in fighting Anthony Yarde after the summer of this year. He says that Joshua Buatsi's been approaching him on a regular basis, saying can he make the fight between him and Anthony Yarde. And a lot of people are seeing this and they're saying, oh, it's too early for both of these guys and stuff like that, especially somebody like Joshua Buatsi. He's only had 6 professional fights. But I think both guys are on similar kind of levels in terms of their pro careers, because Anthony Yarde, yeah, he's had more fights, but he didn't really have a long amateur background. Anthony Yarde, he only had 10-15 fights as an amateur, whereas Joshua Buatsi had a very extensive amateur career. He went all the way to the Olympics. He's an Olympic bronze medalist, Joshua Buatsi. So Anthony Yarde might have more experience as a pro, but Joshua Buatsi had a long amateur career at a very, very high level. So both guys are on a similar level in a lot of people's eyes, and a lot of people think Joshua Buatsi is going to be a level above somebody like an Anthony Yarde, because Anthony Yarde, he's looked good against the opponents he's been fighting, but he hasn't really been fighting anyone. And a lot of people have been wondering why he hasn't been fighting anyone decent. Is his trainer Anthony Yarde trying to hide something about Anthony Yarde? I listened to Hatman's video on his opinion about this, and this is what he's thinking. He's thinking, well, if Anthony Yarde doesn't get stepped up soon, is Anthony Yarde trying to hide something? Has Anthony Yarde got a weakness in terms of a chin or stamina or something like that? Because this guy's been fighting absolutely no one. He's been fighting journeymen and guys at area level, domestically. And then in his last couple of fights, he fought Serge Locker, who was a decent European/fringe contender in the super middleweight division a few years ago. And then before that, he was fighting guys like Richard Baragni. Like, who the fuck is that guy, in the words of Conor McGregor? And in his last fight, he fought a guy called Tony Avalant, a guy who Serge Locker, his opponent before that, beat in a couple of rounds years before. So, you know what I mean, Anthony Yarde's quality of opposition has been very poor, and Joshua Buatsi hasn't been any better, to be honest. He's just been doing his apprenticeship as a pro, fighting journeyman and stuff like that. But Joshua Buatsi fought at a high level in terms of his amateur career and stuff like that as well. He fought at a very high level as an international amateur, and Joshua Buatsi looks very polished as a fighter, whereas Anthony Yarde looks a lot more explosive as a fighter. He does look polished as well, Anthony Yarde, for a guy who's only had 10, 15 amateur fights and 15 pro fights. This guy looks very, very polished for a guy who hasn't had that much experience, and especially the level of opposition he's been fighting. He does look like a very naturally talented guy, Anthony Yarde. And Joshua Buatsi, you know what I mean, he looks like a very crisp fighter. He looks very polished in what he does. Joshua Buatsi, it's very methodical what he's doing in there. Like, he isn't the puncher like an Anthony Yarde is, but he's breaking guys down methodically in there, Joshua Buatsi, and he's taking guys out as well. So it's a very interesting matchup. I hope it gets made. Eddie Hearn, I'm going to quote him here, what he says in this article. He says, we'll be making a big offer once we get through the summer and their next fights. Buatsi wants to get moving. He really wants to fight Anthony Yarde. He's already approached me and said, can you make that fight? He goes on to say here, I made a huge offer for Callum Johnson to fight Yarde in excess of 6 figures, and they have said no because he's fighting on June 23rd. But he didn't have an opponent, and he doesn't have an opponent. I don't believe, even at this stage, we'd be even willing for Callum Johnson to fight Yarde on the 23rd. And Eddie Hearn goes on to Joshua Buatsi's horn here. He says, Buatsi's just too good. I rate Yarde. I think he's a talent, but Buatsi is another level. Again, if Frank Warren won't let Yarde fight on Sky, I'm happy to look at Buatsi fighting on BT. If it means getting Buatsi that fight, he's one of those guys where I'm so confident in him beating people that if we have to make a move like that to get the fight, then so be it. So Eddie Hearn saying he's willing to put Buatsi on BT. So it looks like the ball is in Anthony Yarde in his team's court, and if they turn this fight down, then alarm bells need to start ringing in people's heads and thinking, what's going on here with Anthony Yarde in terms of why he's not fighting anyone, even domestically right now. You know what I mean? He's not willing to fight the likes of Jose Burton or Callum Johnson. To be fair, he wanted to fight Frank Buglioni, but come on, Frank Buglioni is Frank Buglioni at the end of the day, whereas Callum Johnson and Jose Burton, you know what I mean? Even though Buglioni beat Jose Burton that fight, he was losing, but you know what I mean? Frank Buglioni's Frank Buglioni. He got dispatched by Callum Johnson in 1 round, and now Anthony Yarde doesn't want to fight Callum Johnson, whereas before he was willing to fight Frank Buglioni. And if he turns down Joshua Buatsi, then who's this guy going to face? You know what I mean? Is he willing to step up? And understand that he didn't have much of an amateur background or anything like that, so they're trying to build him up as a professional, like do his apprenticeship and learn on the job now, like a lot of fighters do when they haven't had much amateur experience. But just look at O'Hara Davis. He didn't have much amateur experience, and he's been stepping up, you know what I mean, to European / fringe world level or whatever he's been fighting at. He fought Josh Taylor, and even though he lost that fight, badly in the 7th round of that fight, you know what I mean, he was there trying against Josh Taylor, who was a very, very good amateur fighter, and he did have a little bit of success in that fight, O'Hara Davis. I know people just remember him quitting in the 7th round, but you know what I mean, early on in that fight he had a little bit of success, O'Hara Davis. So yeah, comment below in the comment section, what do you guys think of this Anthony Yarde Joshua Buatsi possible fight? Do you want to see the fight now? Do you think the fight should marinate for a year or so? And yeah, comment below in the comment section, who do you think would win the fight? It's JM, it's speakboxing.